All right, gentlemen, let's move on quickly. Corruption in Nigeria has assumed a dangerous dimension, such that the more we fight it, the more it spreads. And according to a recent survey by the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigerians paid 721 billion naira, representing 0.35% of the entire gross domestic product of Nigeria, as bribes to public officials in 2023. The survey report titled "Corruption in Nigeria, Patterns and Trends" indicates that more than 95% of all bribes Nigerians paid in 2023 were in monetary form. The largest share of citizens that had contact with healthcare professionals for bribery was 30%, and public utility officers at 24%, while police officers came third at 20%. Gentlemen, this is an interesting report, because in this country, we know how to point fingers at politicians. You say, governor this, governor that, so this, but we always forget to look inward.
Don't forget that a survey is usually for a small demographic. It's not wide. I'm sure if we go really into this and you say, okay, we've opened a website, come and put your experience there, I'm sure the entire budget we have will be covered by this, because it's everywhere. You go to the government hospital where they say this should be free, you still have to pay something to somebody to facilitate it, otherwise they won't attend to you. So many things are wrong in terms of our approach to running this country. And when you look at it, the bulk of it has to do with those we are using our taxes to pay. The bulk of it. I mean, civil servants, public servants. That's where you have the largest share of it, because a lot of private companies, yes, you will have all of these things there where somebody is sitting on a contract you ought to do and you still have to, but the bulk of it happens in the public sector. And this report is just it's more, like they would say, tip of the iceberg. It's just too small. If we don't tackle corruption, like the former president said, it will kill us one day. And that is what is happening everywhere. That's why some people, when you tell them, why are you not in the hospital? You are ill. They'll say, I can't go to the hospital because I can't afford to. You tell them, but the government is running this free thing for, were you there yesterday? When I got there, they said, yes, it is free, but I must bring this, I must bring this. So why can't they just, why then do I need to go there? Because indeed, government is trying as much as it can to ensure that they make pronouncements. Let's take a look at what happened in the first week of running the Onje Eko in Lagos. Some people constituted themselves into authorities and did things the way they wanted until some people were sanctioned, and heavily so. That was how the program was able to run much better. But in the first place, do we need, as citizens, to inconvenience other people because we are in a position of authority? Just small, because sometimes I imagine when we see a policeman on the road threatening to kill somebody because, so if that policeman becomes a governor, what happens? Then you can now imagine those levels of power as they go up. Government needs to do something and do it well. And we as citizens, we also need to insist on our rights. Yesterday, the police said the electronic CMR, the implementation is going to begin on the 29th. You go to the social media and see what happened yesterday. People are now so scared because they know that those guys on the road, policemen, They have time to, yes, they will extort, inconvenience, and inflict pains on Nigerians. That's why, quickly, for me, I've advised people, go and do it. I did it about 3-4 months ago. Go and do it. So that people don't allow these people to inflict pain, because that's the biggest fear of people. That now you have given them the power. Maybe you took away tinted glass. You end up paying more. Because they will tell you that when we take you to the station, it's 50,000, but here we can take 25. They turn it into a negotiation. All right,
Adeoye, just to corroborate Dotsun's statements, this report says bribery was most rife among prosecutors, land registry officers, customs and immigration officers, though Nigerian judges and magistrates received the largest kickbacks.
Yeah. You see, when you look at that amount, somewhere around 721 billion. 1 billion. Years back, that should be the entire budget of a state, at least for 1 month, or even for 1 year, at a point in the past, even because of the devaluation of the naira. That is a whole lot of money. It is enough to build a textile industry from the scratch that will employ thousands of people and sustain them for decades. It's enough to build roads. It's enough to build hospitals for a lot of, it's even enough to build a university. That's a whole lot of money that has gone into private pockets. So I think in the first instance, this is coming from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. So I commend that institution because it's not yet politicized. It's coming out with facts that can help the country to develop. Working with United Nations Office of Drug and Crime, which is also a globally reputed organization with headquarters in Vienna, in Austria, established in 1997. And all over the world, that organization is respected. This is just a small, narrow survey, but it gives us an impression about what is going on in our country. And I think there are some striking things, revelations in that research. That 95% of these bribes came in form of cash and transfer. So it means that even though we are trying to introduce technology, people still, it does not stop people. If you want to pay for a passport, some people will still tell you pay to his private account. And then from there, he transfers. What you are paying, maybe 15,000 goes to the government, he has added 5,000. You have to pay, even driver's license in the NOA. Even you want to get C of O, see, it's all sorts of cartels. You want to get C of O, you pay to private accounts of civil servants. Why should that be when government has its own account? So, and it also mentioned that, which actually gave me a lot of concern, mentioned doctors, medical doctors, that the rate of taking bribe has gone up. It means in the health sector that even used to be immune from bribe and all that, this problem is also there. I went to do tests recently, and the lady was telling me after I had to pay 10,000 naira for blood test for someone, say, what of my own organ? You are not even considering the fact that where will I get money to even buy the necessary medicine? So, corruption is a phenomenon that is common among Nigerians, irrespective of class, whether you are rich or poor, armed and defenseless people are alike, rich and poor, and even children and adults. Go to some secondary school, primary schools. People want to contest for senior prefect. They are distributing gala, and the teachers are watching them.
Adeoye, let me pause you for a moment while we take this commercial break, and we will come back to continue this conversation. To Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and I have been hanging out with Adewale Adeoye and Dotsun Oladipo. Gentlemen, let's move on with the conversation. You know, I read a book a while ago where Chief B.C. Akwande said, a country where everybody is corrupt like Nigeria, nobody can solve the problem. Corruption is not the first thing to fight, otherwise you get perished. The mindset is corrupt. But how come, I mean, according to this report, people in rural areas paid more than people in urban centers?
My thinking is that people in the rural areas are vulnerable. There are no institutions to defend them. So when you come and say, look, I want to arrest you, I'm taking you to the police station. Because of his level of education, because of his, which lawyer is going to, which lawyer will help him? Will he have access to justice? So the next thing is to bribe. the level of education there, you know, is compared with what we have in Oba. But I also think that certain things we also notice in that report is corruption is more prevalent in the public sector compared with in the private sector. And there are people that they interviewed, 65% of them said they got their jobs through bribery. So if you want to get a job, for instance, as a policeman, you need to bribe to get that job.
That's common.
What's the moral authority to say that you should not take bribe when you bribe your way to get the job? So that's the problem. So 65% got their jobs, they have to bribe. So when they get to that job, there's already moral deficit. You know, there is no basis for them
That's the way they do it.
That's the way they do it. So either through bribery or nepotism or a combination of both. And also the reports also said that only 40% of people said they got their job without, you know, paying. So if you have to pay you pay money to get a job in the civil service, you know, then corruption will be very difficult to find.
All right, Dr. The report also says that Nigerians' confidence in the government's anti-corruption efforts declined during the review period. Is this about EFCC?
It's not just, it's about everybody. All the agencies.
In government's anti-corruption efforts.
Yes, because whichever way you look at it, the police is also supposed to fight corruption. All these bodies that we mentioned in terms of law enforcement, they're supposed to fight. They are not supposed to. You meet a road safety man on the road, he's supposed to take a bribe from you. If you do anything that is, or you have an infringement or infraction, the man should just book you, and so even the chairman of the EFCC admitted when he came that he had a lot of stories about people, prosecutors of EFCC, who are already compromised. It happens. Whichever way, anywhere you look at it, a lot of us who have been reporting the military and the police and other security agencies, we know how they do these things now.
But the Attorney General of the Federation is urging or has called for the urgent passage of a robust whistleblower protection law in Nigeria.
For me,
help?
See, it's not about the law. Like I said, it's about the person, the thing inside of us. That's why some of us have always been saying, even if we can't do nothing, let's keep talking through the national orientation agency.
But is it realistic? Is it realistic?
It may not be, but that's the first thing to change.
So I think if the law is there and somebody knows that, oh, okay, this policeman has done this, I can tell this person, I can tell this government agency, and I'm safe, I think that would go a long way.
Don't we have the laws? That's the question I first asked. We have the laws. Getting more laws is like duplication. We already have everything that we need. Some countries have unwritten laws.
Yeah.
Are they corrupt?
Yeah.
It's not about the laws. It's about who we are. Like you said, if I know, for instance, that I want to join the police or any of these security agencies and I'm going to have access to a gun, and the money they want to pay me, I already know that I have a wife and 4 children. It can't go anywhere. Then it means there is something in my mind wanting to join that service. And that is what is happening. Some people, it is customs that they want to join. Put them in the office. They will bribe their way to go on the road. Right. The same thing with the police. This everywhere. Look at what happens even with our so-called anti-corruption agencies. The only one that it's always very silent because they don't put themselves in the media is the ICPC. Yeah. Others, we see them, we see the way they behave. It's
all right, gentlemen, so let's move on. Let's go to Ogun State.